Hello, little justice leaders. I am so excited for the conversation that we are having today. If you don't know me, I'm Shelby. I am the creator of Little Justice Leaders. At Little Justice Leaders, we help schools, educators, and families build learning spaces rooted in justice and belonging. And today, we're going to be talking a lot about belonging, a lot about mental health. We have a special guest, Clayton Harrison, and you will see very soon why I am so excited for this conversation. Clayton is a licensed mental health counselor, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and also the author of the children's book, James Goes to Therapy. It's a culturally affirming picture book that centers on a young Black child discovering therapy, emotions, and mental health. So I know we all agree how important this is. Clayton brings a decade of experience in supporting youth and families, both in the US and abroad. His passion lies in helping children and communities normalize mental health conversations and embrace emotional well-being as everyday strength. So I am so excited. Welcome, Clayton. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to start by just telling our community a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into mental health work?
Okay. I guess for starters, I'm licensed in the state of Florida as well as Washington, D.C. As you mentioned, the licensed mental health counselor and licensed marriage and family therapist. I guess my journey into the field wasn't always set on counseling. I first started knowing I wanted to help people. Didn't know how, but from an early age, I wanted to help people. So I went to school thinking, okay, I'm a doctor. So I went to undergrad school in biology, pre-op concentration, and I got an internship at Cleveland Clinic through their summer internship with their summer treatment program. And the program was for children diagnosed with ADHD and other comorbidities to kind of help them understand their behavior a little bit more using different therapeutic modalities. I enjoyed the program so much that I kept going back each summer. And I was like, okay, I think this is my true calling. So instead of going over to med school, I went to grad school and got my degree in counseling. That led me down this road. So instead of helping people heal the body, and help people heal their mind.
I love that so much, the way your path has just shifted and turned, because I think, that happens to so many of us. And it's just a great example of how opportunities can arise and we go in different directions, but you still stayed true to your core mission of helping people. And speaking of helping people, do you want to tell us a little bit about your book, James Goes to Therapy?
Sure, actually, have it right here.
Of this
This is my
book.
book, James Goes to Therapy. It's about an 8-year-old Black boy goes to therapy for the first time. Throughout therapy, it talks about the process, him learning certain skills to deal with his emotions. So my idea for kind of starting this book, working with kids, I get a lot of kids who come in like, well, what is therapy? Or you have some kids who are kind of nervous to come in because there's stigma around mental health, especially in some of the marginalized communities. So I wanted to kind of normalize therapy and kind of get rid of the stigma. And I was like, okay, well, a better way to do that than to start early on to normalize therapy. So I kind of wrote this book to be used as like a tool. So therapists could use it, counselors, teachers, parents, and help normalize therapy for that child at a young age, kind of demystifying the process of what it entails, and also to normalize emotional expression. I mean, it teaches some healthy coping skills along the way as well. But ultimately, the goal for the book was to kind of get kids to know it's okay to ask for help and to reach out when you do.
Absolutely. I love that so much. It's so important for young people to know that they can ask for help and to see, representation. Other kids going to therapy, kids who look like them going to therapy. So such a beautiful book. I really love this book. And we see a lot of children's books over here at Little Justice Leaders, but I really was kind of struck and inspired when I got to look at your book. You're such an advocate for introducing mental health early on with young people. Why is that so important to you?
Well, children, minors, they're the next generation. If we start young, we can help to improve or evolve our society. I would say that children, they have those emotions just as big as adults do. The only difference is the children, they don't have language or they don't always have healthy tools to express those emotions. So starting mental health conversations early kind of helps to help kids develop that emotional vocabulary to build self-awareness or resilience. It sets that foundation to where kids start to normalize it. and it's not something that's stigmatized. I think when we teach kids that emotions aren't something that's good or bad, they're just things that we have to pay attention to, we help those children to grow into emotionally intelligent adults.
I love that. And I think that is just so important. What is the role of storytelling and representation, or how can storytelling and representation help reduce stigma when it comes to mental health?
I think representation is important. And when you start to couple it with storytelling, it can be a powerful tool. When children see themselves in the characters of stories, they start to identify with those characters where it builds empathy, it builds understanding and connection. When they start to see themselves in those stories, it sends a message that your experiences matter and you're not alone. So seeing a Black kid like James going to therapy, it kind of opens that door for other Black children to say, okay, well, I can go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. Or even seeing a Black male therapist, like, oh, that person looks like me and they're there to help. Or maybe it's just, hey, I want to grow up and feel like that, help that person helping other children. So I think when we start to use representation, especially in storytelling, it helps to create a safe environment, a safe space, if you will, for children to feel seen and create a space for healing.
Definitely. I think that is so spot on. We talk a lot about, representation. We use stories so much, right? When with young kids, but even with adults too, like we connect through stories. We connect through hearing about other people's experiences, relating to other people in that way. So I just think it's such a wonderful way to reach young people with important messages. And representation really matters. Like it really makes a difference when you can see yourself in someone else. Yeah. So you are also an advocate for culturally informed therapeutic tools, of course, being a therapist who clearly thinks deeply about a lot of these issues. So can you give us some examples of what that actually looks like?
So culturally important tools, those are different things that can reflect on the individual's identity, their environment, or their lived experience. So this could mean maybe use books where characters share the client's background or integrate language or music from their culture. And also being mindful of how their family dynamics can vary across different cultures. And I think it's important because with therapy, it's not a one size fits all treatment. And what works for one kid might not work for another, especially if that kid doesn't feel comfortable or safe, if they don't feel like they can relate. So culturally informed tools help to build trust within that client in the therapeutic process. And that's when we start to really meet that individual where they are.
Absolutely. And that's, often what we try to do, or what we should be trying to do in the classroom as well, right? When we have students coming from all walks of life, as educators, we want to connect with them. So it's so interesting to hear about how that also works in a therapy setting. We have a lot of educators and caregivers, parents in our community. What can they do to help support their children in fostering mental health and emotional well-being?
I think one of the best things that people can do is kind of lead by example. As children are always observing and mirroring what they see and hear. So when we can show kids how we effectively regulate our emotions, they're watching, they're taking note. So I think some of the important things to do is to listen, actively listen, and help them label their own emotions to increase their emotional vocabulary. You can use feeling charts to kind of help assist in labeling those emotions. You can use coping skills to effectively deal with those emotions, some of which are in that book, Gene Goes to Therapy. There are a lot of different ways that individuals can kind of help out. I think another thing that we can kind of do to help is to create a safe environment where children feel safe to share without the fear of judgment. And when they feel like they can turn to adults in their lives without being judged, well, that's when they can really thrive.
Definitely. That's so true. And again, something we're always talking about is creating spaces where young people feel like they can come to you as the adult, whether you're their teacher, their therapist, their educator, their parent, a family member, and so that they can, come to you and tell you what's on their mind, what's on their heart. So absolutely,
Yes.
I love the very tangible examples of what parents, teachers, caregivers can do, like some very specific ideas Clayton just gave us. But also kind of more broadly thinking about how am I creating a safe space, a safe environment for these young people to thrive and to come to me if there's, an issue or if there's something on their mind. So at Little Justice Leaders, of course, we are committed to social justice and education. We think a lot about justice. Tell me about how you see the connection between mental health and social justice.
Mental health and social justice, I feel like are intertwined. When we're talking about access to care, representation in mental health professions, cultural responsiveness, all of those are social justice issues. When children grow up in an environment where their identities are marginalized, well, they face added emotional burdens. So we have to kind of advocate for mental health equity, recognizing and addressing those systemic barriers that come up. As therapists, we have to acknowledge the systems that are in place, the traumas that individuals experience, the histories and how they impact how we show up in the world, how other individuals, how they feel, how they heal, how they interact with other people. A lot of children kind of grow up with this internalized message of I have to be perfect in order to be accepted. And healing isn't about perfection. It's about embracing those parts of ourselves that people say don't fit in. One of the mottos that I try to instill in all the clients is to embrace your perfect imperfections because it's the cracks within us that let the light shine through the others.
Absolutely. That is so beautiful. And I agree with you. I feel like mental health and social justice are so closely entwined, especially when we're talking about young people and helping them develop the tools they'll need to navigate this world, to understand themselves and really value themselves as humans, which is really what we're always trying to do in justice education work. So absolutely, Clayton, thank you so much for bringing your expertise, everything you've shared I know is just going to be so helpful to our community. How can our folks find your work and support you?
Okay. Well, in terms of support, the book James Goes to Therapy is available on Amazon and major bookstores. You can also visit my website, my publishing website, at perfectimperfectionspress.com. I also have a YouTube channel where I post different videos in terms of awareness, mindfulness skills, different things can I utilize, just kind of check in on your mental health. My YouTube channel is at Perfect Imperfection. I can check that out. Yeah, or if you're in the area, Florida or Washington, D.C., you're on the lookout for a therapist, feel free to shoot me a message on either of those. And that's fine as well.
Amazing. I will link all of that below so that everyone can very easily find it and go get the book. Go get James Goes to Therapy. I'm about to order another copy for myself because I just love it so much and want to give it to all the kids in my life. So please go get a copy of the book and hit some of the links below to support Clayton and his work. And if you care about social justice and education, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and join the Little Justice Leaders community. I'll link some ways that you can get involved with Little Justice Leaders if you're interested. But otherwise, thank you all for being here. Clayton, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.